This is long overdue, but I would like to share with you my favorite GL story at 8 letters. And this is by Angel Reyes, entitled A Pocket Full of Regrets. I don't want to live in a world where I'm always reminded that who I am and who I love is a sin. So that is the opening blurb to this novel. Adalia Rhea had spent 28 years following the rules of being the perfect daughter. She had never faltered until one drunken dare. She thought her feelings for her best friend Lexi were normal as they grew closer every day. Not until she realized that Lexi was the epitome of the very sin that her mother had warned her against. Addie had been the perfect marionette, never questioning the strings that controlled her life, not even at the expense of losing her first love. When given a second chance to make reparations, will this be enough for Addie to finally embrace her true self? Or will the deeply ingrained beliefs and social expectations forever teeter her to the standards, afraid to go against the current, even at the expense of love again? That's the first part of the blurb. Second part. Alexandria Nikolai's life has been uprooted after an incident 10 years ago. After enduring the pain of being a pariah and the struggle of starting over, she made a vow to herself that she would not allow herself to make the same mistakes again. Yet when an accident forced her to come face to face with the person who broke her heart in the first place, her life was once again pulled into a whirlwind, making her confront the very thing she has been running away from. Will she be able to keep the wall that she had carefully built, brick by brick, around her, or will it crumble to pieces until she is left bare just like 10 years ago? Yeah, so that's the blurb, a very intriguing blurb from A Pocket Full of Regrets. Okay, so let's read chapter one, or at least a part of it. Okay, so once again, this novel is available on our Shopee, Lazada, and also on our website. Okay, all right. So this is the prologue 10 years ago. Are you a good kisser? As our friendship trio tradition dictated, we were all now lying on the floor as the rolling credits of our comfort movie, Princess Diaries, played in the background. It was Nico's turn to host the slumber party after Halloween night, and with the ever-rebellious spirit that he had acquired after dressing up as a drag version of Darth Vader. He was so proud to present us the cans of beer that he was able to hide from his parents. And one can of beer down, here I was running my mouth already. You know the mind-shattering, foot-popping, love-struck eyes kind of kiss that will make you forget all your worries away? Nico's coughed as he sat up and took another sip on his beer. I can't wait to go to college and meet some real college men. He made a show of frustration by removing and throwing the bald cap he used for the costume. The boys in this town don't know anything. Okay, don't know anything. They think spreading spit on my face is enough for them to be called a good kisser. And assume that's enough for me to give them the... He opened his mouth in a wide O and starts to... My eyes widened as realization dawned on me. Ew! I threw that pillow in his face. We don't need to see that. Nico laughed. Just telling you what it is. That's it for us gays my age here in this town. He shrugged his shoulder and went for another sip. How about you, Addie? He returned the question back with a suggesting tone. Have you smooched anyone in school? Nico put down his beer to give his full attention to me. Has the golden child, Adalia Rhea Castillo, ever gone behind her parents' back and defied them to kiss a boy? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't hide the blush that ran up to my ears as Nico pouted, his lips kissing air. I tried to cover my face, but he was faster as he grabbed my hand and held it in place. His expression was a mask of disbelief, astonishment, and of course, excitement. Not that it was unexpected. It was not every day I defied my parents and lived to tell the tale. Remember Sam? I finally confessed. He nodded eagerly. So after their basketball practice last Friday, I was still in school, prepping to go home. He caught up to me when he was walking back to the locker room to shower, and we just started chatting until we reached the lockers. Nico's eyes widened at first with anticipation but slowly morphed to apparent concern. The realization of what he had assumed dawned on me. No, no, we only kissed. I really don't know how it happened. His shoulders visibly relaxed out of relief. The whole thing was a blur, and it didn't even last for 2 minutes. I could only remember that he pulled me to the locker room and whispered that he had always found me cute and wanted to kiss me. And before I could even answer, he had his face lowered on mine already. But as soon as I realized what was happening, I ran out and left him there. Probably with blue balls, Nico muttered. So how was it? Was it everything you imagined? Why would I be asking if you were a good kisser if it was? I grunted and plopped back down on the floor. It was just wet. I made a disgusted sound to show my disdain. Can't believe I lost my first kiss to that. They think that by opening their mouths and shoving their tongues inside, make them a good kisser. A quiet voice quipped. I turned to the other person in the room with us, whose eyes were glued to her phone screen, fingers swiping up as she casually browsed videos, not a care in the world. How about you then, Lexi? I asked, now curious. I couldn't remember any time she'd talk about anyone she was interested in, let alone anyone she has kissed. I eagerly turned to Nico with a huge grin on my face, expecting that he would back me up on my Fox interrogation, knowing he was always keen for new gossip. But to my surprise, all I saw was a tight-lipped smile with a waiting gaze turned to Lexi. Kiss someone? Lexi continued to browse her phone. Yeah, I've kissed a few here and there. My mouth almost dropped in shock from this news. She had never mentioned anything to me about kissing anyone. How and when? She was with me almost every time we were at school. I glanced at Nico to see if he had the same thought process as I did, but based on his reaction or the lack thereof, he knew. A slight pang of hurt thudded in my chest, realizing that I had been left in the dark from something as monumental as this. But instead of focusing on it, I pushed it down and pulled up my overeager face, seizing this opportunity to know more about Lexi's love life. Who did you kiss? I never imagined Lexi kissing someone would give me a feeling of unease. And who is this best? The over-the-top excitement in my voice could have given it away. Lexi finally stopped scrolling and set her phone down. She grabbed another can of beer to open, and the sound of frizz was the only thing we could hear before she continued. I've kissed boys from our school. The last one was Archie from the volleyball team. I put my hand in my mouth. I've never ever seen them talk. But the best? She took a sip as she contemplated the seconds ticking by with anticipation. Would probably be Brittany. She taught me what to do with my tongue. Lexi dropped this bomb as if it wasn't the most mind-blowing thing she has revealed. Oh, don't act like it's a big deal that I kiss a girl. You two are the only people who know I'm bisexual. It was a kiss. Most of them happen in dares, but she glanced at Nico as though a silent communication was passing through them. Left in the dark again. Some of it were a type of experiment, Lexi finished in a quiet voice. Besides, I even kissed Nico here for a dare. She made a show of gagging while Nico hit her with a pillow. I could clearly see that there was something going on between the two that I was not aware of, and that hurt more than not knowing who Lexi kissed. I could feel my chest tightening as the banter in front of me unfolded. Kiss me then, I said kiss me then, I said out unfounded. Kiss me then, I said out of unfounded insolence and envy. I dare you to kiss me, Lexi. I snatched a can of beer and opened it rather aggressively than I intended to. Nico stopped midway from tackling Lexi and turned his head so fast. I thought he would do the exorcist out of shock. You don't know what you're saying, Addie. Nico was the one who disproved. He sat back down and faced me. Apprehension now clearly painted his face. You're drunk, and this is the alcohol speaking. He tried stealing the can from my hand. What's wrong? Ignoring Nico and daringly eyed Lexi. You said you kissed Nico, right? Will it be a problem if you did it with me too? I flashed my carefully crafted smile. I just want to be in on the fun. I've always thought that Lexi and I were closer than they were, that she had no secrets from me, even her most embarrassing ones. I was the first one to be friends with her, not Nico, but his revelation had shaken something inside me that wasn't sitting well enough for me to accept it as it was. Maybe it was the alcohol speaking, but the confrontation felt good as I nudged these feeling on. Okay, I'm going to stop there. This is a 300-page book, and I was just on page 11. So yeah, you can see now the reasons why I like this book. It's so on point, right? So I hope that bit of a reading encourage you if you're into GL stories to get a copy of A Pocket Full of Regrets.